You are now in the black box. Whoa! With Spider Loke, Most Easty, aka VJ Keyway, and the Google Gang. Let's go!
Snake Wood Nip Hustle. Big shout out to my nigga SPI, Spider Loke. You know I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
Jeter, gratitude is the attitude. The show is a blessing. To be back in the black box as we blow a succession. The constant, consistent, continuous, constant, consistent, continuous content creation campaign continues. I'm your host, VJ Keyway. This reaction, we're going to go slightly into the past. Interesting conversation I've heard thrown around. Never really tapped into it, but I think now it's about Big U making a statement at a certain point that had he been out during the rise of Death Row, Death Row would have perhaps not seen the path to success out here in these LA streets that it did. Trey D weighed in. I think Kefee D spoke on it. A couple of people. Toxic Media, this is his clip we're reacting to. So with no further ado, let's see what Big U was up to back in the D-Day on my mama.
Said that if he hadn't been in prison, Suge wouldn't have been able to run around LA with all the Bloods and everything else like that and run shit the way he was doing.
If he would have been out?
If he would have been out.
Were you out when Death Row started to build up and Corrupt started?
Not at all.
You were in jail the whole time?
Never happened when I had no Death Row.
What do you mean?
I love Suge to death, but he definitely wouldn't have been moving around LA like that. Yeah, that's probably good. He got some power.
Yeah.
He got power, yeah.
He does.
What it do, y'all? It's Top Media TV, man. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Make sure y'all don't forget to like and subscribe with the notification bell. So that was Kefee D reacting to Big U, saying how he had some power back then in LA, and if he would have been home, Suge Knight wouldn't have been moving around LA like how he was. Y'all know Big U got on Black TV and said, people wasn't mentioning Bloods or any of that in LA back in the 90s. So if he was home, Suge and his crew wasn't smashing on nobody. They stomped and killed a Rollin 60 at a party, if y'all don't remember, and Big U was not home at that time. So Death Row was definitely doing damage, man, in the 90s, man. And let me know what y'all think. I mean, it kind of seems to echo what Trey D said about Big U when, Trey D was asked the same question, and Trey D said, yeah, Suge Knight would have met resistance had Big U been on the streets. This is what Trey D said, y'all, for those that don't remember.
You wasn't saying blood. You wasn't wearing no red at that time. That wasn't happening. And you definitely weren't moving like that without major situations. You know what I mean? And I think what was able to give rise to Suge, to the growth and Suge to move like he was the riots. The unity from the riots and dudes not tripping and on the gang on each other. That's really what gave rise to Death Row. More people started moving in like they was moving, but nah.
Big U was a monster in the streets at that time. He still has a very high level of respect. Not saying he lost any of it, but then he was more reactionary and proactive with the cripping. And 60's are a major force, and I guess he's probably saying Corrupt wouldn't have been over there.
I'm going to say this. I get the point that they're making about Big U and what he's saying, right? But a little history on Suge. Suge went through a lot of public incidents where it looked like he took an L for a slight portion of time. But the get back was always quick and exact and unexpected and out of nowhere. This would have been a cold chess game. Because here, we see how Big U push. I understand the geographics, the demographics, and all that. But it was known. You make Suge have a bad public moment, Woo, be careful. Head on a swivel.
Baby, to make that addition to Death Row, and at the same time, you know, Suge, like he said, the riots, the peace treaty, you know, that gave an opening to a lot of people to start socializing with one another.
Right, because Death Row had Bloods and Crips.
Right.
The Bloods were Suge's crew, but the talent were all.
That's his voice. So, but it was predominantly Crips. And I just take it that he's saying Suge would have definitely met a whole lot more resistance the way he was pushing around town. You know what I'm saying? You know, the big, you know, almost like, what's that figure? Yeah, I told you I'm not a big movie.
Yeah, I get the concept of the entourage and all that, but I don't think Suge was no dummy. So, depending on how he was approached, he probably would have politicked with Big U amicably to where they could have pushed without it being nothing. But had that push come too aggressive, it would have been a chess game. I'm telling you, on my mama.
Person of the, was it the Punisher or somebody like that, you know, so somebody like that, you know, and it's like he would have been challenged because, you know, U's equally as big, you know, as far as physical stature, and you know he indulges in that kind of activity. You know, I know firsthand. I was in 4800, the Crip module with Big U back in the days. You know, and also I was in another module with Big U. Was about to get into it with a few dudes on the phone. You know, they seen, you know, one of my tattoos had their neighborhood crossed out, and you know it was finna be an issue right there on the phone. And Big U was like, "Look, homie, y'all want to get down? We can go down the road. Y'all gonna give him a head up," because he had knew me from 4800 and he know my credentials. You know, he like, all right, I can't let that happen. And they were some of his little homies, but from another clique, you know. And you know, they didn't want the head up, you know, so it was just like, well, y'all beat it. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't gonna let y'all jump him. So, you know, he's a real good friend of mine, you know what I'm saying? Because it could have went bad, but, you know, hey.
Trey D appreciated that gesture, and at this point, way down the line, caused him to classify Big U as a real good friend. And just think, Big U or any other individual knows the value of making sure Trey D got that pass. Doesn't make Big U inwardly friendly toward Trey D. That could have been a tactical gesture. Lock him in. The type of loyalty Trey D is expressing. It's chess, not checkers. And not to say that's exactly what it is. But all he said was, he stopped me from getting jumped, gave me acting the head up. Here it is 30 plus years later. He's a good friend of mine. That's simple math.
That's how it is. But I know he's saying that he would have met a lot more resistance had he been on the streets pushing the way he was pushing, because it's only natural if you're a major figure in the force and you're on the opposite side of the color spectrum, then, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna definitely push against you.
Right. So
Black, and I seen you on Vlad once before. He told me don't even mention it, but I gotta ask you. You had said there wouldn't be a death row if I was out with Suge. And I'm like, I gotta ask him what he mean by that. Because from my knowledge, you and Suge was fucking with each other.
Yeah, but not before I went to prison.
When you go to prison?
I went to prison in 1991.
Okay. That was right at the beginning.
He wouldn't have had Corrupt.
Right.
He wouldn't have never had Corrupt. So he would.
Now, his influence over that situation, ain't nobody deny. Had he had interest in getting in between whatever business dealing with Corrupt and Suge Knight had, he would have had action to that. So he's saying now he wouldn't have had Corrupt because he's thinking from now. But perhaps maybe he would have been heavily involved in the business with Corrupt. I could see that.
Wouldn't have had a connection to us on the west side. Two, you wasn't gonna run through LA in Hollywood and all those parts where I was and where we was running the Compton Pyru thing. That's what I mean. And I mean, and because we were strong. I was very strong at that time when I left. And you know what I mean? And unless we had an understanding, wasn't no LA nigga coming to Compton and bouncing up and down Compton Avenue and doing all that.
Compton Boulevard. But I get what he's saying. They had that presence. That's what the 60s represent. But with $100 million in the mix, I think they would have came to an understanding. Like he said, unless we had an understanding. Oh, my mama.
It's gonna have Compton Bloods, Compton Crips, Compton, everybody like hollering. It wasn't no lot of niggas coming from there coming to LA doing that either, bro. It just wasn't. I'm sorry.
So it was basically respect the territory. You ain't gonna come and just disrupt our spot like you think you own the shit.
The things I heard would have made me focus.
Whoever made this video, they got it showing Mob James when Big U talk and showing Big U and Mob James talk.
It's on him. And the person I was.
Come on, man. Hey, I swear to God. That would have been, niggas would have had to accept the confrontation. And that's what you're looking for when you're out there gangbanging like that. That confrontation.
No, you gotta understand, bro. I was on a whole nother level. I was on a.
See, at that juncture, the difference between Big U and Suge is, and especially according to the person he's talking to, Mob James claims that Suge was an honorary member allowed to bang the gang once he had this death row situation in place. That's Mob James' testimony. Big U's testimony is the exact opposite. Being official member reputable from this. That's a different influence over the section. And then I got much love for the Mob Pyru. Everybody know that. However, just minus the death row days, the 60's and the Mob Pyru, they just represent something totally different on the whole big spectrum of this landscape of the gangbanging. 60's is just a traditionally more notoriously known section. Oh, my mama.
It was.
All right, y'all. Let me know what y'all think, man. That was Kefee D in the beginning saying how Big U had power in them streets in LA, and it was possible if he had been out, there wouldn't have been a death row. This was after, Big U had put out this statement, and of course, Mob James kind of disagreed. And y'all know, of course, Trey D did say that Big U could have stopped or made Suge meet some resistance had he been outside. But now this is Kefee D, man, on his latest DJ Vlad interview, man, when he was asked that question, man, speaking on the situation, and he felt like, yeah, Big U did have power, man. Let me know what y'all think, man, if you feel like Big U really did have some juice to stop Death Row and the Bloods from moving and smashing on how they was moving in LA back in the 90s, man, when Big U was in prison, y'all. Let me know what y'all think, man. Once again, thanks for tuning in, y'all. Peace.
Now, I think about it, that's probably the reason why the creator caused Big U to be separated from the situation, because he probably got a point. It probably would have got explosive. So the creator caused his connection with Suge Knight to be a decade plus later, kind of subdued a lot of that beast in him, and he came home willing more so to look for an understanding. And that's how it played out. So, yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I like the way that everybody spoke on it. Nobody disrespected anyone, even though it was like some gangster conversation. It was done with maturity and respect. Shout out to everybody involved. Oh, my mama.
Tupac of my generation, Pac was highly intelligent. But in our culture, street culture, especially in his generation, intelligence was viewed as a form of weakness. How do you get the people that's really affected by, what we're trying to solve involved?
Mathematical mode, marathon, and making moves taken. The heartbreaking news made major breaking news. Nephews, nieces, siblings, seeds, stay confused. Waking up, shaking, aching, praying that it's April Fools. Chosen child from the now stakes is huge. Snakes and fake styling the gate is too late to choose. These violent visions gave victory, paid your dues. Motivated, demonstrated, elevated views. Rules don't die, we multiply. I ain't make the rules. Self-medicate, meditate, and celebrate the blues. Neighborhood, roller coaster, you can take the cruise, I'm good. Blue laces, suede Puma's favorite shoes. Jesus to the generations, you never say me on my babies. Most beautiful gift Puto ever gave me. For such a precious life, who decides Christ? I couldn't feel the slide twice, cuz they crucified Christ.
Wasn't that puzzle. Big shout out to my nigga SPI, Spotter Low. You know I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned, all that.
It's the homie cook-up boss, goddammit, Cub Low. And y'all tuning in to the Wake and Bake Show with goddammit the homeboy Spider Low.
Here with SPI, the realest nigga in LA.
Spider this bitch!
My nigga Spotter Low.
Spider Loke, nigga.
Spider Loke.
Spider Loke.
Spider Loke.
Spider Loke.
Spider Loke.
Spider Loke, that's my nigga.
Spider Loke.
Spider Loke.
Shout out to SPI, that motherfucking nigga.
Spider Loke, wake and bake. Better keep it Google, nigga.
Loke is in LA somewhere doing what he's doing.
In the words of Spider Loke on my mama's mama.
Spider Loke's gear. This is Bay Mac.
Nate Blood, C-Mac. Shout out my Loke, Spider Loke, cuz. Nate Blood, on hood. It's a beautiful world. You fight me? Fight, Craig.
Point blank, through no subliminal dissing. When I listen, I can tell you never been on no mission. Sticking to the script, don't care if I offend you. Neighborhood crib, the marathon
I overlook my competition, never seeing them. I done train my mind that I'm going. You could tell by how I walk, talk, I'm a boss. A east side millionaire, homie, what you thought? My life is a movie. They can't get close to me. They mad cause they can't be. I'm everything that they wanna be, yeah.
You are now in the Black Box. Whoa! With Spider Loke, Most Eastie, aka BJ Keyway, and the Google Gang.
Let's go!